Fall is a fantastic time to take care of your lawn so that you have a gorgeous lawn all year round. Come with me as I show you how we maintain our yard. Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. I am Jenny and today we are standing in our front yard and I want to walk you through how we take care and maintain our fescue lawn. Now, if you will remember, we are in North Carolina, a zone 7B. And the last time we talked about doing grass, somebody asked a very good question. They said, if you're in the South and you deal with southern climate, why are you growing fescue, which is a cool weather grass? Excellent question. Well, where we are right on the borderline of being able to grow both fescue and hot weather grasses. We personally have just chosen to have a fescue lawn, even though it is a cool weather grass, because honestly, we just like it personally better than say like a Bermuda or a zoysia or a centipede grass. Because fescue is a cool weather grass, it looks great basically all year round. Yes, it will start to look a little stressed and actually start to go dormant in late July and August when we hit our highest temperatures. So it will start to get, it will slow down on growing, it will start to get a little bit of a brownish tint to it. Some people think that it is dying. It is not dying, it is simply going dormant. It's like it's too hot, I'm checking out, I'll see y'all again later when it's cooler. And if you go back and watch several of our videos where we were here in the front yard back in the summer, you can kind of tell where it was a little stressed. Now, here we are in the end of October. November is just knocking on the door. It's just a couple of days away, and you can see how much it has already perked up. Bermuda, centipede, all those kinds of grasses, yes, they thrive in the heat and the humidity of the South, but because they are a hot weather grass, when it turns cool, then they go dormant and they are brown. So you will see these in a lot of more southern climates. A lot of homes have them, so really like South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, all of those guys will have those, and even golf courses around here will do some of those hot weather grasses. We personally would just rather have a little bit of a more of a brown yard for maybe 6 to 8 weeks in the summer, as to having a completely brown yard all winter long into the spring. We like having a nice lush green grass. Also, fescue is a more of a lush looking grass because you do not cut it really short. When Jerry or the kids cut the grass, they set the mower really about that 3.5 inch mark. So it's a lot taller, it's thicker, it's fuller, and honestly, it's a little softer on your tootsies when you're walking around barefoot in the yard. So, fall is the perfect time to come in and shore up your fescue grass. We, for the most part in our yard, have a pretty good stand of fescue. So we did not have to completely start from scratch. There were a couple of areas that we had shown you that the invasive pesky grass had gotten into, whether it be the Bermuda or what we call wire grass, Johnson grass. It's a really invasive grass and we want to get it out. So we did kill that off, and then we've come back in and really heavily seeded that area. But for the most part, all we have to really do is come in and aerate the yard. So what in the world does it mean to aerate? Aerate is simply that you are scratching up the surface of the soil with a machine that's poking holes in your lawn. So this is a great time to do right around if you've had some wet weather, so your ground is already nice and soft. So the machine comes in and it has a roller full of basically spikes, and it comes and it makes these divots all in your yard. Why in the world are we doing that? Well, as you remember, here where we are in North Carolina, we have gorgeous red clay soil, and we need a pocket for that soil, that grass seed and the fertilizer kind of to fall into, as opposed to just laying flat on top of the ground. So you can aerate. We actually borrowed the aerator from a friend of ours. So if you have somebody that has one, I'm sure they'll probably be happy to let you borrow it. In years past, what we would do would simply be to go to a local rental store, and they have aerators that you can either pull behind on your mower or different things. The one that we borrowed this time was simply one that you could ride on, so that was really nice. But maybe you don't have a huge yard, maybe you're just working with a small space. You can get a small tiller and just lightly till up your soil. The whole idea is to break up that flat surface of your soil and create little divots, little nooks for the grass seed and the fertilizer to really kind of fall into, so that it doesn't get washed away and grab hold, and they can take off and grow. So first step is that we aerate this. First step is you want to cut your grass really low as you can go, because you're not going to be coming back and mowing it for a while. You want to get it as low as it can go. So you're really going to kind of scalp your grass. Then you're going to come through and you're going to aerate. Create all those little nooks and crannies for your grass seed to fall into. Then you just simply go along and you can use a spreader. Spreaders are really easy, relatively cheap, that you can get at your local hardware store, and put that grass seed in there and then walk it off in a pattern so that you make sure you have an even spread of grass seed throughout the yard. Now, what kind of grass seed did we use? Well, we used fescue, obviously, but there are tons and tons of different varieties of fescue for you to choose from. There are fescues that are more sun tolerant. There are some that are more shade tolerant, depending on your growing conditions. We like to use, whether you're doing sun or shade, or maybe you have a mixture of both. A lot of times you can buy the fescue with blends. So it's not just a specific type of fescue, but it has several different varieties of fescue in one bag that you're putting out onto your lawn. The one that we had actually had 3 different blends in the bag, so we have 3 different blends out in the yard. We here are full sun, so the blends that we chose are for that majority of full sun grass. My mama has a lot of shade, so if she was doing it, then she would go more on the shade side. So depending on what your growing conditions are, use that blend. Also, I would say a great resource for you to use would be just go online or call like your local agricultural extension office. Ask them if they have certain blends that they recommend for you to use in your grass, because they are experts in your local area. So those extension offices are there for your use. They are free because they are paid with taxpayer dollars. So take advantage of that. So contact your local extension office and talk to somebody about grass. Also, go online and look at local universities that are in your area that really have strong agricultural programs. For us, a great resource is NC State and Clemson. Both of those universities have really strong agricultural programs. They have all this published material on the different blends, the different new varieties that are on the market that have done really well in the area. So again, wherever you are, because we have a wide reach, and so I could be talking to somebody in Washington State or Canada or Texas or wherever you are, and so what the blends that work really well for us here in North Carolina may not be the best blends that work for you. So reach out to your local people and talk to those folks. Once you got your grass seed in, go ahead and you're going to come back with a great fertilizer. You need to feed your lawn. So there are just a wide range of different fertilizers out there that you can use. There are now great organic fertilizers that you can use, or you can use synthetic. Whatever it is, again, use those local resources to find out what the best fertilizer is for you. And then the last thing is you've got to make sure that the grass gets water. Fescue, especially when you're coming up, you've got to keep it, of course, a nice moist environment for those seeds to germinate. On average, once it's established, fescue has to have at least 1 inch of water per week. So whether that is from rain or that is from irrigation, but it is vital if you want to have a nice green yard that you've got to water it. Just like if we're talking about a potted container of annuals, if you don't water it, it's not going to do well. So you've got to look into, you know, do I get enough rain, or can I do some sort of irrigation on this area to give me nice green grass year round? It all depends on what you want for your lawn. It's your yard. You be the expert of your yard, and you decide how you want your space to look. As far as going into the rest of the season, there's a whole nother maintenance schedule that you can do, you know, in the spring and the fall and the summer as far as feeding. Again, because of our red clay soil, we tend to be very acidic. So we want to sometimes lower our pH level. So we would use a lime to kind of balance out that pH level so that we're not so acidic. That's what we have to deal with here with our naturally acidic soil. Lime helps to counteract that pH. And as far as the rest of that goes, we're just going to let it grow. Once it gets to a good height, we'll come through and just give it a nice little light haircut. We have been blessed with some good rain here in the last the last week, really. I mean, I think we've gotten 5 inches of rain total in like the last week. So the grass is already germinated. It is coming up. We can see it. There's all this little baby grass in here with the already established grass. So hopefully that ensures that we're going to have a beautiful green lush yard for the whole next year. And if you do this on a regular basis, if you do that kind of maintenance, and every year come in, you know, maintain your weeds, get rid of those guys, shore up the existing lawn that you have with fresh round of seed in the fall, then really it just becomes a little bit easier to maintain every year, as opposed to if you just do it once every 5 years or so. So as always, a little regular maintenance eases the burden in the long run. Again, this is not an all, you know, exclusive how-to, but this just shows you, gives you a glimpse of how we take care of our lawn here in North Carolina. As always, thank you so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye, friends.